Hi there my fellow yogis, it's Kalymnios from thoughtgym.com and welcome to today's yoga class, which is going to be a spine back awakening yoga flow. So really just focusing on awakening the spine, keeping a nice healthy spine. So we're going to start in a seated position. You can be cross-legged or you can kneel if it works for you. Think about just checking in for a moment. Maybe removing the fleshy bits from your bottom, creating a bit of a seat. You can also sit on a block if it works for you a little bit better in this case, okay? And just close your eyes for a moment, just check in with yourself. Notice how you're feeling. Good. And then opening the eyes. Taking a nice big inhale, arms up. Exhale. Exhale down through the center line, push away and round through the spine. So as we inhale, we're going to draw up and straight. Exhale, we're going to push and round. Okay, so inhale up. Exhale, round. Inhale up. Exhale, round. Okay, then bringing the hands to the knees here and taking some seated cat-cow as we sit back and then bring our elbows back as we bring the chest forward. Exhale, hands to knees, round. Inhale, extend the chest. And coming back to center. And good. Okay, inhale, arms up. Exhale, twisting towards the right hand side, left hand to right knee, right hand behind at the kickstand, taking a twist here. Inhale, both arms up, bring your chest forward. Exhale, back to the left side. Inhale, arms up, exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, arms up. And twist into the left. One more time, inhale, arms up. Exhale, twist into the right. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, twist into the left. Good, coming back to center, rolling through the shoulders a little bit, backwards and forwards. Good, and then let's just do a little bit with the neck here before, which is also part of the spine. We'll just take the left ear to the left shoulder. Inhale up, exhale, right ear to right shoulder. Inhale up, left ear to left shoulder, inhale up and back over to the right. Good. And then taking a look over to the left shoulder, bringing the chin down towards the shoulder, through the chest, over to the right shoulder, and up. And then back down, chin to chest, chin to left shoulder, and up. And back down, back to the right shoulder. Good. And then coming back to center, and then just taking a few little circles with the neck one way and the other way. Good. And then just nodding and shaking the head from side to side a few times. I'm doing it with my eyes closed. I find it a bit easier actually with my eyes closed when I do this. And then we're going to come into tabletop position. Taking some cycles of cat-cow. I'm going to do my cat-cow here with my fingertips pointing towards my knees. You can have your hands slightly at an angle or in the normal position, or you can mix it up a little bit as you walk into different positions. So exhale as you bring the chin towards the chest, rounding through the spine. Inhale as you dip the chest, tilt the tailbone up, gaze forward. Okay. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, looking forwards. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, looking forwards. forwards. Okay, and then coming out of that, again, releasing the hands if you did what I did, and then coming into child's pose. So hands out in front, knees together, or they can be slightly apart, bringing the bottom towards the heels. And then we're going to roll through the spine into almost that tabletop position before we draw the hips down towards the hands, bend the elbows towards the ribs, coming into a baby cobra. And tucking the chin, rolling back, finding child's pose. So 2 more like that. We're going to roll through, really try and elevate each vertebra of the spine as it articulates through this motion, drawing the hips down. You can bring the chest a little bit higher each time as you come into your Bhujangasana or Cobra position, but we're just rolling through the spine vertebra by vertebra here. Yeah, and coming back into child's pose before making our way into downward facing dog. Okay, so there's going to be some quite strong spinal flow in this next bit, and if this is too much, then I invite you to bring your knees to the ground and take the flow that we've just been doing instead. Okay, that's perfectly acceptable. So from downward facing dog, we're going to come into floating upward dog. Floating upward dog is the same as upward dog, but toes are on the ground instead of the tops of the feet. So elevate the heels and the hips as you roll through vertebra by vertebra, coming through a high plank. And then from this high plank where you've got this dome of the spine, you draw the hips down towards the wrists, open up the front of the chest, and this is your floating upward dog situation. Then to come into downward dog, rather than with a flat back, we're going to tuck the chin and round through the spine, vertebra by vertebra. Okay, so let's do that a couple more times just to get the flow of it. Hips and heels high, tucking the chin, rolling through to that high plank cobra position, drawing the hips down, opening up the shoulders, coming into your floating upward dog. Thighs engaged, glutes engaged. Tucking the chin and rolling back, downward facing dog. Good. And then from there, just inch by inch, your feet forwards into a forward fold with bent legs, bringing the feet together at the front of the mat. Nice bend in the knees here so that you can get your hands on the ground. And then as we inhale, we draw the chest up, rolling up vertebra by vertebra. Inhale, brings the arms up overhead, finding a gentle back bend, and then exhale, tucking the chin and rolling vertebra by vertebra, bending the knees again, all the way down. Again, 2 more times as you inhale, awakening the spine here, coming into that gentle back bend, engaging glutes and thighs, bringing the hands down, tucking the chin, rolling through, allowing the shoulders to come forward slightly as you roll through. Okay, 1 more time, inhaling up in your own time, in your own pace. Exhale, coming into a forward fold, separating the feet about hip width apart here, coming into a ragdoll position, elbows are grabbed hold of with opposite hands, and then you can keep both knees bent, or you can straighten one leg then the other. Hang out here, swing from side to side, loosening up the back here rather than the hamstrings, so you can have nice bent knees rather than trying to put it all into the hamstrings here. So do what feels good for your lower back. And then releasing the hands to the floor and just having a little lie here in a floppy arm position. Okay, from our floppy arm position, just start to straighten the legs and straighten the back, bringing the hands to the hips, coming into like an L shape with your back and your legs. Inhale, come up to standing. Exhale, come back down to that halfway point here. If this is too much for your hamstrings, then bend the knees a little bit. Inhale, come up. Okay. Exhale, come down. Okay, so inhale up, exhale. As you come down halfway, okay, so inhale up. I think these are called good mornings in some exercise circles. Exhale down. Good. Inhale up. This time take the arms up on the inhale. Swan dive down as you come down through that halfway point, but then we're going to come all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift flat back. Exhale, bend the knees and step both feet back into your high plank here. From here, high plank brings you down all the way down to the ground. Now we're going to try a different way of getting into our upward dog, which is a little bit tricky, but again, this is important for the spine. So see that my toes are tucked, and at the moment I'm straight. My hands are underneath my chest. From here, I'm going to draw the knees up the mat slightly, which brings my bottom in the air and my chin onto the ground. Then I flatten my feet. From here, I shift back slightly as I tuck my chin and bring the pelvis forward. So you see this rocking motion of the pelvis. We're going to do that at the same time as lifting and bringing the chin to the chest. So there's a roll into your upward facing dog. Okay, so let me just show you that one more time. You can always rewind it and look at it again because it's a little bit tricky. But we come from our plank position down into our prone position. So we're all the way down to the ground. So not halfway like normal. Okay, here we are flat. A lot of people, what they do is they shift back. Somehow, what do? They try and shift back. I don't even know if I can do it. What I'm asking you to do is keep the hands where they are. Okay, keep the hands where they are. Tuck the toes. Lift off the knees and use the toes to push the knees up slightly. That's going to bring force your bottom in the air in this anterior pelvic tilt. We want to go to a posterior one, which is bringing the pelvis forwards, and we do that whilst lifting at the same time. Okay, and you can kind of hack it a little bit by shifting the weight back. So if we're in this position here, if we push back like we're doing a push-up into this position and roll forward that way, that is also another way of getting into it. Okay, tucking the chin, rolling back, finding our way into down dog. So let's just try that in as part of the flow. We're going to roll through to high plank, all the way down to prone, knees up the mat, untuck the toes, tuck the pelvis, bring the chest towards the chin and coming up into your upward facing dog, tucking the chin, rolling back, vertebra by vertebra. Good. And then from here, inhale, right leg up towards the sky. Exhale, step it through just behind where the hands are. So we're in a long lunge, but not a super long lunge. And then from here, we're going to float up, warrior three, arms in front, hips neutral, squeeze the left glute, squeeze the right thigh, look down at the floor, come into your T-shape. And then from here, coming back into that long lunge, nice and slowly, stepping back, downward facing dog. Let's do another roll in Vinyasa here. We roll through, high plank, prone, what's called a cobra roll, this tuck of the pelvis, rolling through, upward dog, tucking chin, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg up towards the sky. Exhale, step it behind the hand into a semi-long lunge, floating the arms forwards, finding your balance. Warrior three, squeezing that right glute, left thigh, left glute, nice and active. Then finding our way back into that lunge position, stepping back, downward facing dog, rolling through high plank, prone, setting up for our cobra roll, tucking the chin, rolling forwards, upward facing dog, rolling back, downward facing dog. Good. And then from there, bending the knees and stepping or floating the feet either side of the front of the hands, coming down into a yogi squat before making your way all the way down to the ground. Keeping the knees bent, feet close enough to the bottom that you can basically touch your ankles, setting up for bridge. So keeping our knees together. If you've got a block or something, you can put it between your knees to squeeze the thighs together, but it doesn't matter, you don't really need one. I'm not going to use one. And from here we're going to roll up vertebra by vertebra, bringing our hips up towards the ceiling, keeping the thighs engaged as if we're squeezing onto that beach ball, and then tucking the chin, rolling vertebra by vertebra. So try and make sure that the spine is, each vertebra is engaged as you do this. So here in the natural position there should be like a little gap underneath your lower spine. But before coming up, I want you to close that gap. So you've tucked the pelvis, you create a posterior pelvic tilt, and then you roll up that way. And then you roll down vertebra by vertebra. Okay, this time as we roll up, we're going to bring our hands to interlace underneath the bottom and shuffle the shoulders a little bit to create a little bit more here, okay? Hold it here if you want. Otherwise, put the pressure into your left foot and then lift the right knee, maybe straighten the right leg, and then lower, and then do the same on the other side. So put the weight onto the right foot slightly, bring the left knee in, left foot up, and then down, releasing the hands, releasing the shoulders, vertebra by vertebra. Taking the feet to the edges of the mat, knocking the knees together, and then taking both knees over to the right, and then both knees over to the left, and windscreen wiper from right to left a few times here. Good. And then bringing the knees in towards the chest and giving yourself a little spinal massage here. So taking circles with the knees. Just give yourself, and then the opposite direction, giving yourself that massage on the lower spine. And then rolling forwards and backwards, keeping the chin tucked. Giving yourself a massage along the entire spine now. Before we make our way into child's pose. So coming back onto the mat and then taking child's pose momentarily. Just bringing it back to your breath. Okay, and then from here, rolling up, coming onto your knees. If you want to create some cushioning with your mat, it would be a good idea because we're going to come into camel momentarily. So you can fold your mat up slightly like I've done, tuck the toes, keeping the hips over the knees here, bringing the hands to the lower back, either with the fingertips pointing up the spine or down towards the hips or the knees. Opening up the chest, engaging the glutes and the thighs, and then gently taking the gaze to the sky as you open up along the front of the body and engage the lower back here. Maybe opening up the front of the throat as well. And then inhale, come back to your starting position. Flatten the feet, maybe sink back down, bringing the head down towards the mat. Inhale, come back up to your starting position. Tucking the toes, rolling up, okay? You can stay as before with the hands on the lower spine here, or you can take the hands to the ankles here, draw the hips forward, open up the front of the body, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Then when you're comfortable with the glutes engaged here, you can maybe open up the front of the throat and open up the mouth even. Exhaling through the lion's breath, sticking the tongue out. And then you can come back up, maybe bringing the hands to the lower spine first. And again, taking a slight counter pose as we bend the knees, bring the forehead down towards the ground. Kind of like a child's pose. And then we'll come back up. And this time, if we want, option to stay where you are, option to keep the toes tucked, or keep the feet flat now as a third option. And then slowly, your hips are going to come back slightly probably as you find your way, unless you've got a super flexible back, to the ankles. And then the important thing is just to imagine that you're being drawn from your hips forwards by someone with a belt wrapped around your waist, and they're trying to pull you forwards as much as possible, even if your hips don't go back over your knees. Opening up the front of the body, engaging the glutes and the thighs, and then again bringing the hands to the lower back if you want, coming up all at once, and then bringing the knees, the heels to the bottom and lowering down in a counter pose before releasing the mat, coming back. Taking one more downward facing dog here, so tucking the toes, downward facing dog, just bending into the knees quite a lot here to get a bit of blood flow back in. And then we're going to make our way any which way that you want onto your backs for a couple of spinal twists just to finish off. Extend the left leg away from you and bring the right knee in towards the chest, left hand on left knee. Take the left hand and the right knee towards the left hand side. Extend the right arm away, taking an easy twist here. Gaze towards the right hand side. And coming back into the centre. Okay, squeezing that right knee in one more time, and then swapping legs, so straighten the right leg, bring the left knee in, right hand to left knee, take the left knee over to the right hand side, extend the left arm away from you, keeping both shoulders on the ground, gaze towards the left hand maybe, taking a nice twist here. And then making your way back up, bringing that left knee in, giving it one more squeeze. Yeah, and bringing both knees bent, feet flat on the ground. Crossing the right knee over the left, if you're crossing your legs here, and then taking both knees over to the right hand side. Okay. So we take a hip twist and a spinal twist. Maybe you feel it more into the outside hip, and then we'll take both legs over to the left without changing the cross of the knees. Maybe resting one hand on the knees, the other hand away. Getting into the outer hip here, as well as a spinal twist. Coming back to centre, crossing the knees the other way. And then bringing both knees over to the left to begin with. And taking both knees over to the right. Again, maybe helping it with one of the hands, extending the left hand away. back to centre, releasing the cross of the knees. Coming into happy baby, so taking the soles of the feet to the sky and the hands either side of the front foot, either side of the feet even, and pulling the knees down towards the chest. So maybe rocking from side to side before we come into Savasana. Okay, maybe rocking forwards and backwards. Final little spinal massage. And then extending the legs away, making your way into your Shavasana. So feet flop open, palms facing the sky about 6 inches away from the hips, shoulders long, or shoulders relaxed, neck long. Soft breath. Any thoughts that come into your mind, allow them to pass across the screen of your mind, just like clouds passing across a sunlight roof or sky roof, whatever we call them. Or window even. Start to wiggle the fingers and the toes, rotating the wrists and the ankles, one direction then the other direction. Bringing the feet together, taking the arms over your head to the floor behind you, stretching from your fingertips to your toes. Maybe banana shaping yourself over to the left, stretching the right side of your body out, and then banana shaping yourself over to the right, stretching the left side of your body out, and bringing the knees in towards the chest, keeping your eyes closed. Keep your attention inwards and your focus on your third eye, your forehead, and then rolling over to either your left or your right hand side in the fetal position. Maybe making a pillow with the hands before coming up with your eyes closed to sitting on your mat in any comfortable position that works for you. Bringing your hands into a prayer position in front of the heart centre, lengthening through the spine as if you're being pulled up from the crown of your head, relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the jaw. Bringing your prayer towards your third eye, your forehead, we ask that we may always seek the truth. Lowering your prayer towards your mouth or your throat chakra, we ask that we may always speak the truth. And finally, lowering our hands towards our heart centre, we ask that we may always be in truth. Namaste, yogis. Thank you so much for practicing along with me today. I hope your spine is feeling a little bit more open and ready to take on the day. Please do connect with me on social media. The Thought Gym is where you'll find me. Plenty of videos on YouTube, not only to do with yoga, but mindset, resilience, health, well-being, and general feelings of being super. So please do connect with me there, as well as thethoughtgym.com, where you find lots of free goodies. So please, I'd love to see you on the mat very soon, either virtually or in person. And until next time, have a fantastic day, week, month, year, and life. Namaste.